Hey nerds, Alex here from Nerds Being Geeks, and the band hammer has dropped again in the Gym Leader Challenge format. Twin and double colorless energy have officially been announced for the ban list starting April 24th, 2025. So in this video, I want to talk about how this ban came about and who are the casualties of this ban. This ban is mostly focused on the colorless decks. There are no other types in all of GLC that can utilize 3 different double energies like colorless can. Double turbo is not banned because it has a condition that makes you do 20 less damage. But twin and double colorless have no restrictions. I want to give a quick shout out to Weeder over at Cardboard Warriors. This is where I pulled this graph from. So the mecca of GLC full grip games in Akron, Ohio recently had a 1K tournament with 125 players. 34 of those players were playing colorless. That's 25% of the field. And during this tournament, the 2 double energy cards and Hops' Pokemon were legal. And during this tournament, you really saw how dominant colorless was. Even in the top 8, colorless was still 25% of the field. It was so good, in fact, the finals had colorless versus colorless. And guess who won? Ben Morris with colorless. So in this tournament and the release of Hops Pokemon, I really wanted to talk about some of the things that brought this double ban for double energy to GLC. Colorless has explosive starts. We have cards like Fan Rotom with the Fan Call ability that lets you pull 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less from your deck and put them right into your hand. Cards like Guzma and Hala that lets you get a Stadium, a Special Energy, and a Tool card. And cards like Crispin that allow you to do double energy attachments. But with that explosive start is the draw power. No other type in all of GLC has this much draw power. Forgive me if I mess this up. I have a colorless deck built, but it is not this. So you start with Skwovet and Nest Stash. You put your hand to the bottom of your deck and you draw 1 card. Then you go on to use Instinct by Oranguru, that once during your turn you may draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. And you try and keep burning these cards until you get to Bibarel that allows you to have 5 cards in your hand. And guess what? In all of this, you can use Chinchino with the Make Do ability. Discard a card from your hand to draw 2 cards. Colorless with this bench setup is basically unstoppable. This is the definition of turbo. And I didn't even put this on the screen, but there's a Dodrio that has the ability that you put a damage counter on it and you get to draw a card. So there's another draw card for you. And that Pokemon becomes an attacker because it does more damage for the amount of damage counters that are on it. And then with the release of Hops Pokemon and Journey Together, we get to see a double Snorlax in the deck. The unphased fat Snorlax has been a staple for colorless for years at this point. And for 3 energy, it was doing 180 damage. Technically, you could do 180 damage on turn 1 with a double colorless or a twin energy attachment, and then use cards like Crispin to attach again during your turn, and you're swinging for 180 damage. Turn 1 going second. And then you come to Hop Snorlax, and you can use Guzma Hala, pull your special energy, pull your Hops Choice Band tool that reduces your energy cost by 1 and does an extra 30 damage. Hop Snorlax also allows you to do an extra 30 damage. So once again, Guzmahala, pull your tool, pull your special energy, and you only need one energy attachment for that if you have the tool on there, if you're using a twin or double colorless. And for that, you're doing 140 plus an extra 60. So you're hitting 200, turn 1, going second. Now technically, you could still do this combo with the Hop Snorlax. You could use the turbo energy. It will reduce it down to 180. But you can also attach the tool, reduction of 1 energy cost, and play a card like Crispin and get a double energy attachment. So you could still pull off this 200 damage combo, turn 1, going second, even with the twin and double colorless banned. So let's look at the replacements that you can put into colorless if you want to accelerate energy. We do have this Porygon Z with the Crazy Code ability. Now, we have seen this before. It is a fairly popular Pokemon to put in the colorless deck. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach a special energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. You can also play Archeops with the Primal Turbo ability. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 special energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. These 2 Pokemon lines could be seeing a little bit more action with the ban of these double energy cards. But then we have cards like Giovanni's Charisma that allows you to put an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand if you do attach an energy card from your hand to your active Pokemon. So this is another way to get 2 energy attachments in one turn. And it's the same with Crispin, which is seeing, I would say, a little bit more action now that the 2 double energies are banned, and a lot of colorless are playing this with Fire and Fairy. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types. Reveal them and put one of them into your hand and attach the other one to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So it gets you 2 energy cards and you can attach them both to the same Pokemon. Now, with this ban, there are several casualties in the format. Some things that come to mind are a couple of water decks, some psychic decks that play Clefairy, or even I've heard Gallade. Now, Psychic probably needs to get knocked down a notch. It is probably the second best deck in the format, and it might become the first once we start seeing more decks appear after this ban. Psychic has so many different ways to play it. I mean, there's Lost Zone, there's another spread style, there's big basics. I don't really see this hurting Psychic too much, but who it will really hurt is Dark with Guzzlord. And Guzzlord is famous for 4 energy, 2 colorless, 2 dark, and you get to use Red Banquet for 120 damage. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, take 1 more prize card. So it was very easy to get a twin or a double colorless and say a dark patch and then an attach from hand, or even Beast Ring, and you can get 2 energy attachments from your deck plus, a double colorless energy from your hand. You can still use these in the dark deck along with Turbo Energize, and I personally have been playing this since the card came out, but it might be seeing a little bit more action because it allows you to get another energy attachment for turn, and that's Janine's Secret Art. Choose up to 2 of your dark Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a basic dark energy and attach it to that Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. If you attach an energy to your active in this way, it is now poisoned. Depending on the situation, that might not really matter, but it is a way to accelerate energy and get another double energy attachment for turn. But I do see the ban on the double energies hurting Guzzlord. Here are some alternatives to the Guzzlord deck and maybe some other decks if you're looking for double energy cards. I've mentioned before the double turbo energy is not banned because it makes you do 20 less damage, and that can be huge, especially when it comes to Guzzlord, when you're already trying to add a Dark Claw or a Muscle Band, so you can do that extra damage, because 120 isn't a lot, and you're gonna need that damage modifier to really hit the numbers you're looking for, like 140. Well, to go from 120 down to 100 with double turbo, even if you attach the Dark Claw, it's still gonna be back to 120. You could be playing from behind and use counter energy, but how long will that last? It might buy you a turn or two to get those energies back up there, but when you're taking 2 prizes at a time, you could be catching up really quick. Now, I put reversal energy in here. It is not for the Guzzlord because it really only helps evolution Pokemon, but it's 3 rainbow energies if you're behind on prizes and the Pokemon you attach this energy to is an evolution. What are other ways to use Guzzlord? What came to mind was dark fire builds. You could use cards like Welder, which allow you to attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and then it lets you draw cards. That is a good way to get 2 energies attached to the Guzzlord, and you can also play B-String if you meet the qualifications, and that's another double attachment. You can play how Colorless has been playing, where they do Mela and Raihan, so you can accelerate fire energy or basic energy of any type from the discard pile to your Pokemon. Raihan lets you search your deck for any card. Mela lets you draw up to 6 cards in your hand. Both see play in Colorless, and I could see this happening in dark decks too. I go back to Giovanni's Charisma. I actually really like this card. It can be a good disruption card, and it gives you a double energy attachment for your turn. Crispin, if you're playing basic dark and basic fighting, you can search for both of those out and get the double energy attachment for your turn. I could really see dark fire taking off, and this might be how I rework my dark deck. Hey, so future Alex here. While editing this video, I also realized that there is a Hydreigon that has basically a rain dance ability. Dark Squall. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach a darkness energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. That's interesting because it doesn't say basic darkness energy, so that's pretty cool. Also, yeah, that's definitely a way to power up that Guzzlord in 1 or 2 turns. The problem is, it is a stage 2, but that's where we're at now. So that's another option that could go into these darkness decks to accelerate energy to the Guzzlord. And back to the video. In conclusion, the banning of double colorless and twin energy, I think, was needed for the format. If you follow the meta, if you follow Full Grip, if you follow any GLC in Discords, colorless has just taken over. It is by and far the strongest deck. It is the true definition of turbo. With all that draw power, with the heavy hitting of the Snorlaxes, it is almost unstoppable. And to have colorless have access to 3 double energy cards was just too much. I mean, personally, If I was watching a stream and someone started playing this Squovit, Bibarel, Snorlax, Colorless deck, I checked out. I had seen this deck so much and I was bored with it. I just didn't even want to see it anymore. I thought it stifled the format. And it's not like standard where you can just wait for rotation. There is no rotation in Gym Leader Challenge. And for the most part, I think that's a good thing. But when a type completely dominates the way Colorless has over the last year, especially when Hop's Pokemon came out, I think it was just needed. This ban was much needed. And the casualties that are affecting, yeah, it kind of sucks because I love Dark. And to have that hit Guzzlord, it sucks. It really sucks. But Guzzlord takes 2 prizes. Some people would say that's too turbo for the format. But with that hit to Dark and a few other types, I feel like the format will slow down a little bit, hopefully. I mean, Colorless still has all of that draw power and energy acceleration. They're even playing Fairy in there to play the Mina supporter. I believe that's its name, where you get to search your deck for a basic Fairy energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. So there's all types of energy acceleration, and you can still do some of these big hits on turn 1. This is probably the most exciting ban that I've experienced while playing in GLC. And I've been playing for going on 3 years now. I think this will have the biggest impact overall. It's not like when Raikou was banned where it affected just lightning decks. If you want to get more into the weeds on this ban, Andrew Mahone wrote an article and posted it on the GLC website. I highly recommend going over there and reading the article. It goes way more in depth than I did on why the ban happened. I also want to give a shout out to GLC TV. His video on this ban was fantastic. He hit all the points. He dug into why he agrees and disagrees with the ban. He did interviews at his local league. I will link Andrew's article and that video of GLC TV below. Please go and check those out. Let me know how you feel about this ban. How many decks is that going to affect you? Once again, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll talk to you later.